Hello everyone, Silveria here, and today I am going to be analyzing my best ever pace in RSG, which is a 1339 blind travel. So first off, a few things I want to clear up. Why there will be a few cuts, mainly because my internet isn't hardwired during this run. So just a heads up, there will be cuts, first 10 seconds, and also other moments in the run. I went to this shipwreck and got some iron and iron nuggets. Also, I was in a VC with the 1.9 plus SSG cord. It's a pretty cool Discord. I've hung around there a lot for my Minecraft speedruns. It's just a nice place to be. So I craft some tools and a bucket, simply a axe, pick, and shovel, all of the iron variety. And I craft my nuggets into ingots and make myself a bucket. I mine 7 logs, which is normally what you do in the pirate meta, 1.16 RSG, which is essentially you get a shipwreck. You get 7 iron at least from the shipwreck, so you can make an iron pickaxe, a bucket, and flint and steel. And if you have extra, it's more of a luxury, and you normally just use whatever you think, the iron on whatever you think would be most useful. And then you use a Magnum Ravine to build your nether portal. So you can see there, I struggled to enter my boat, which, haha, very comedic, very funny. Haha, very funny. Yeah. I was on the search for a Magnum Ravine, and I see some floating hitboxes, which is kelp. And if you see hitboxes, have your hitboxes on if you're searching for a Magnum Ravine, because it can help you. And yeah, at this point, I'm just gonna build my Magnum Ravine portal. And at this point, I'm like, oh, this is an average nether enter. You know, I get a few of these an hour. I don't get that much anymore because I don't play as like my reset efficiency is definitely improved. So someone got a 101 ender in my chat, which I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And I think I might have accidentally broken that block, but luckily water flowed and I placed the lava there, which got me obsidian. And I spawned in the nether and I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for a 30 spike. Then I spot the Bastion right in front of me. Now, I was already starting to get nervous a bit because I'm like, what is this? I'm like, what is this? So I go after the skeleton and I craft a shield. Yeah, a bow drops from the skeleton, but no arrow. Well, actually, arrows do drop. And I shoot an arrow on accident because my brain is starting to go into more autopilot because at this point I've done Bastion for Bastions for a while. I've known the Bastion routes for a while. So, and the route I'm going to be doing here is the Manhunt route for the Housing Bastion. There are 4 types of Bastions: Bridge, Stables, Housing, and Treasure. My personal favorite is Bridge, though I'm fine with playing Housing, because Housing is my second favorite Bastion. Well, I'll play any Bastion, unless I die, which I normally tend to do in, Stables, which is my least favorite Bastion anyways. And it's, objectively the worst Bastion. Housing is, considered to be one of the better Bastions. There's only one Bastion that's considered really bad, and that's Stables. Did you get rolled on something a lot? So at this point, I'm just gonna make my gold blocks into gold ingots. And I'm going to get out of this hole so I can loot some chests and maybe come across some piglins. And straight up, right off the bat, I have 12 pearls. So that's really good. It's really lucky. And I break a block that I placed earlier to keep piglins from killing me now, so that way they go in my hole. Which I will normally use to get trades. Break the gravel I place so I can collect the gold in the trades. I just like see this piglin and I'm like, oh, you can come on, why not? So the pig goes into the hole eventually. It's just slow, which is weird, but it might just be something with like pathfinding. So I go up and loot the top chests. Now, the top chests of the Bastion are... They actually offer to loot. So I go in this hole. And loot some chests. Get some obsidian, string, and some arrows. Now, the arrows are normally used for like half bow. Now, I probably would have forgotten they had the bow, but still, it's useful to have arrows, because you never know. So I exit this area and go to the single chest in the second half of the housing bastion. Now, probably the correct play was actually not to do this, but instead to just loot the chest and drop the gold. But I was playing incredibly safe, because at this point I'm like, this could potentially be a good run. Like, a really good run, not just a good run, a really good run. So I'm gonna go bring this gold down to the piglins and check my trades, which the piglins are practically done. I have to kill another skeleton, which, luckily, I don't take any damage from. And I start my pyre, or pydar, depending on what you want to call it. And I see that the fortress is 14 chunks away, so I go back to 10 and then to 13. And now I'm going to check which direction the fortress is in. So I know the fortress is in east. It isn't south. And I soon realized that the fortress is in the west direction. And this fortress actually was closer than I thought it was. Because 15 chunks seems like a long distance, but it isn't if you're purling over to it, or if you're just walking over. Like, it doesn't seem like it seems like a long distance, but it's actually not very far. And then it takes me a bit to remember kind of how to craft the respawn anchor properly. Like, you do the glowstone first, not the crying obby. I was just really nervous, and I'm starting to get into my mode, which when I'm nervous, I normally make a lot of mistakes. That is just something that happens with me. I have a tendency to make a lot of mistakes when I'm nervous, which you might already see in my RSG PV. And I was about to death reset, and then I like check my trades, and probably the correct player would have been like, yeah, I lost I think like 20 seconds here, like just trying to do this. I lost like 20 seconds, I think, or maybe even more than 20 seconds. Potentially, it cost me a sub 13 blind, but that would have made me more nervous. And then my internet had problems, so you don't get to see the death reset, but I did play this run legit. I did play it legit, trust me, I did. Anyway, let's see the fort, and I'm starting to freak out. Because this is already this is my best pace ever in RSG. Which before this, it was my end dinner from yesterday, my 27:55 end dinner from yesterday. And I was really starting to get nervous. I was like, oh my god, Bastion. This is like my first true Bastion, I'd say. This is my first true Bastion, which, like, I really was nervous, as anyone would be on this kind of a pace, like, at my skill level. And I kill a blaze, and the first one I kill drops a rod. I kill this wither skeleton and kill the second blaze, which also drops a rod, I think. Yeah, it does. And I see that the spawner's over there, like, very close to me. And then I see a second spawner, like, at the corner of my vision. So this is a double spawner, but I don't go for double spawner, because I'm nervous. And I don't really make mistakes when I'm nervous. So I was just like, I didn't even remember that I had a second spawner. I was really gonna go to that spawner, but then I remembered, oh, there's this spawner over here. I'm gonna go to it. So the correct play technically would have been to do double spawner, but I think personally that it would have been riskier to go for double spawner. Because I'd risk, like, potentially getting into a skirmish or something happening while I was going in between the spawners. So that was just a risk that I didn't feel was worth taking. And as you see, Yanabe Hacky in my chat says my blaze rates, which are 4 for 7 currently, 5 for 8. I just decided not to kill that blaze. Because I decided, oh, it's not worth going for. I don't think it's worth going for that one. Which you can't really blame me, because I make a lot of mistakes when I'm nervous. And I was about to bridge over that blaze, but I decided to kill these ones. 5 for 9. 5 for 10. 5 for 11. 5 for 12. Actually, it's 6 for 12. Because there was actually a rod that was, like, that I didn't see. Because it hyper-focused. That was, like, so hyper-focused. I'm just gonna go over this blaze and bridge over to it, and someone reminds me that I don't have fire res. So I resplash a fire res pot. And I'm not exactly sure what my blaze rates are from here. Okay, the rod dropped at that point, not during the last cycle, but during this cycle. And I get 7 rods, and then, like, I decide to kill this one just because I feel like it, and I get an 8th rod, which is a luxury for me, because I normally just go at 7. And I blind at 1339. I was really nervous at this point, as you could clearly tell from my reaction. I was, like, shaking, and I opened Ninja Brain bot. My heart was pounding. It felt, honestly, like, the nerves were starting to really set in. I was on sub 25 pace easily. Maybe even sub 20 pace, though ultimately I never got to that pace, because, yeah, I placed down I ultimately was very slow to look for the stronghold. Nerves. Nerves are the worst, for me especially. And I just decided to sleep. And I'm gonna death reset, which I don't think, actually, looking back in hindsight, wasn't the correct play. The correct play actually would have been to not death reset. And I get rolled here. I get an endermite to spawn there. And I'm like, why? Why an endermite? So yeah, it was really weird that an endermite spawned there and not in, like, Feinberg's AA runs or something. Or maybe in, I don't know. Anyways. My nerves are really starting to get to me. And I'm just starting to make mistakes. The mistakes are really starting to pile up. And I craft my logs into planks so I can do the 1 cycle. So I can get beds for the 1 cycle. I craft some of my eyes and my pearls and blaze powder into eyes. And at this point, I was really starting to get nervous. And I remembered to turn off my hitboxes after being reminded by Nautilus. Like, every time I try to do triangulation, I'm always reminded by Night to turn off my hitboxes. So, I actually get pretty good accuracy for my first eye. Like, it says there's a 14.2% chance of the stronghold being 1032 away. But I'm not going off, like, 14%. I don't go off of that. And I mess up a bit while changing my sensitivity, so I just decide close enough. Or my scroll sensitivity, which isn't even necessary. And I get my eyes and go up to this mountain to throw my next eye. And the skeleton, like, shot me, which I think I might have seen it, but at the same time, I was hyper-focused, so I probably didn't until I took damage from it, like, after I got my second eye. After I got my second eye calculated. I remember to turn off my hitboxes on my own this time. And I throw another eye. And it's 100% likely. And everyone was freaking out. Everyone was freaking out in the VC, along with me. Because, like, it's an 100% chance of being, like, 700 blocks away. Even if I didn't do double travel, that would still be really good distance. But I did have access to double travel, which is even crazier. Because I normally don't have access to double travel because of, well, all my previous PBs didn't have double travel. At this point, this is, like, sub 25 pace. I think it was honestly a misplay to go for this skeleton. Because, like, it wasn't really bothering me, and I knew I was going to death reset. So I didn't really... In fact, it would make my death resetting much easier. And I, like, do my death reset this time with fall damage, because I don't think I have enough pearls, really. And this run is kind of a tragic ending. Alright, I'm just gonna I'm not gonna spoil the ending, actually. Like, you're just gonna have to, like, see when it happens. And I get my armor and my shield, break the bed and get it back. And I'm going to go to my coordinates that I need to go to potentially get the stronghold. Now, Night, like, reminds me, hey, that's your angle you should be at. So I go, like, that angle, and there's a wither skeleton, which I take a bit of damage from, and I was starting to, nerves were at an all-time high for me. All-time high. It wasn't, like, my normal amount of nerves, which is a lot still, but it was higher than normal because I was on really good pace. And I kill the skeleton, kill the baby magma cube, and also kill this wither skeleton so it doesn't cause me more problems. And again, my internet decides to have problems. So, yeah, I go ahead and bridge over to the spot for the portal, and I take a bit of damage from that skeleton, which ultimately probably was the reason this run died. Like, because I probably would have survived how this died, had I not taken damage there. And my brain was really, really, really just on autopilot. Like, it was so nervous. And I got another shot from the skeleton. And I was starting to, get nervous. Very nervous. Not just nervous, but very nervous. I had to really emphasize that. I was really nervous. And I accidentally throw the pearl. So I'm going to kind of explain. So I had my pearls in my 6th slot, where I normally have my flint and steel. And I instinctively hotkeyed C without really thinking much about what was in my hand, and it turned out it was pearls, which ultimately was the reason the run died. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe if you want to. Anyways, goodbye. Have a great rest of your day, and hopefully tomorrow I will PB. Hopefully I get sub 30 tomorrow, and have a video to show for it. So, anyways, have a great rest of your day. See ya.